Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson. Who do you think I am? Dakota, Johnson. Anyway, so I watched Materialists on the first day that I could, and when I was watching the scene where you say you're not a fish, I expected the character to get fired, and the name is Lucy, not Aubrey. Aubrey is the name of the girl from Little Shop of Horror, and also Aubrey Plaza, whose name I could never remember until I made a point of always remember, or like tracing it back from the word plaza. Anyway, and I was sitting in the first time I was trying to watch this movie, and I was comfortable, and instead of like laughing at a scene or clapping at a scene or giggling at a scene or gasping at a scene, I said, "You're talking to a chair," because I thought that you were telling your client that she was not a fish after she left. And then when your character was in the office, I said, "Oh, you're fired," and that wasn't what happened either. But when I said, "Oh, you're fired," I said, "You're talking to a chair. Oh, you're fired." When I said that, like I would just laugh without thinking, or giggle without thinking, or gasp without thinking, a girl got up and walked out of the theater like she was gonna go tell on me. And so I didn't want to deal with with choosing timelines and controlling reality. I felt like relaxing. So I left because the reminder that that reality sort of holds us hostage, and life is like, live your best life or else. I didn't want to have to deal with that, so I left the theater. You okay? You okay? Thanks. Anyway, I'm okay for now. Yeah, as I approached the intersection, I had an entire shipping truck edging towards the intersection. Like, I need to deal with that shit. So, anyway. Yeah, so I was watching the movie, and I had to deal with how life holds us hostage. It's like, live your best life or else. And I didn't want to have, I'm watching a movie. I'm here to relax. If it's a funny scene, I'm gonna laugh. If it's a sad scene, I'm gonna go, "Ah." I don't want to have to deal with, the requirement that I control reality with my mind. I'm watching a film. Anyway. So I left the theater last time. So this time, I got to watch the whole movie straight through. And after that scene, there really isn't any development. Nothing really progresses after that. It just there's a party behind your character where Drop Dead Fred, the imaginary friend gets married to some girl's name. I don't remember her name. It was like some vastly important code name or something. Like, yay, the bullshit passes. And your peer group completely ghosts you as your body language expresses that you're gobsmacked in the office and everyone's celebrating someone's 4th successful match. But I did enjoy, here's what I did enjoy. I did enjoy that it had a simple placeholder for plot, so that a girl in her timeline can watch the movie and think that she's smart, as we all think that we're smart. We all think that we're smart. You know, the fact that her friend tells her about the leg surgery, and then it comes up later in the film, not only do you feel like you remembered something of relevance, but you also feel like your education matters, right? Because you have foreshadowing, and you're like, oh yay, foreshadowing, the leg surgery mattered. And it's hard to call it arbitrary, because in the English language, the word arbitrary means the opposite of itself. Arbitrary, an arbiter is a judge, and a judge is someone who finds meaning and who thinks about things diligently and makes very important, meaningful decisions. But in English, when we say that something is arbitrary, we mean the exact opposite of that. We mean that it is meaningless and not to be thought about at all. So the word arbitrary means the opposite of itself. So the leg surgery was sort of like an arbitrary, has nothing to do with people's character or anything. Maybe their religion. And when your character says, I felt the same way that I felt before, as if that meant something, I was like, more things adding up mean that they mean something. They add up. But your character acts like, you know, she had this one idea that she wasn't attracted or infatuated or hormonally drunk or naively trusting or what's the word for it? Or codependent, infatuated, what people call love. She said, I'm not in love with you, meaning I'm not obsessed with you, I'm not codependent, daydreaming about you doing my job for me. Anyway, so when one thing happens after the other, they add up, but your character says that it doesn't add up. But you know what I did like is that earlier in the film, when your character is watching a play, she says, parts of the play did not make sense. I thought that was a cute kind of, not callback, but I thought that was a cute, you know, I thought that was like a cute, acknowledgement that movies are designed to weave us together in all of our different life experiences. And then the movie actually goes into how people have, and maybe why people have, vastly different life experiences. And when he says that he gets taller and at the airport they treat him differently, even though he's a millionaire short and a millionaire tall, but they still treat him differently, etc. Hey, look, that's not Javier, that's not Pedro Pascal. It's a different guy who looks just like him. Anyway. So I liked it. I liked how, I guess the young people call it meta. So instead of like, instead of development, story development or narrative, there was just like a bunch of interweaving meta commentaries on itself. That was cool. That helped me not think about how we're supposed to think that John's gonna go back to her after who knows how many years of her being a community cohort. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it. And actually, you know what I thought? I thought that the movie would have been better if it was about pimping, because it really did remind me of Abraham and Sarah in Egypt.
Like it cannot be
a lot. I also like that you show Pedro Pascal's super Aztec royalty nose, and then you actually smush his nose, so it seems like it's real, because he showed it so much while talking about plastic surgery that I thought I was a smart guy. I was like, oh, he's from Central or South America and he got a high status nose. But then you smash it and I was like, oh, maybe it's real. Don't smash me. No. There was a movie that I really liked that doesn't end in any kind of resolution. And I don't remember what it was, but I really liked that it didn't give the audience anything. And I thought it would have been more mature and more satisfying if the story developed in the direction of, you know, Chris Evans grows up, the John character grows up, and he realizes that he lives in cuck world, and it's probably better if his supposed soulmate marries some millionaire. He can always smash her on the side, and she'll have some cash for him. But no one's going to expect Captain America to be in that film. And I don't let them have that fantasy out in the world. I tell them all the time, I'm sorry that I cannot kidnap you. I'm sorry that I'm not making your decisions for you using neurolinguistic programming. I'm sorry that I'm not a self-sufficient sociopath, and over again. Not because I would like to do that, but because for the very same reason that normal people apologize for normal things, when scary people feel offended, when someone scary feels offended, you apologize to them and you make them feel better. That's the very same reason why I apologize to her that I cannot kidnap her. That is the logistic reason why I'm constantly apologizing to her, that I cannot meet her halfway and relate to her the way that would actually reward me. Not because I'm pitiful or sorrowful, but because I'm giving the apology. Like a piece of paper, here, please don't punish me for not kidnapping you. Please do not punish me for not hypnotizing you. Please let me have a nice day. Even though I am not pursuing you and hypnotizing you and making your decisions for you and speaking in low hypnotic tones, etc., 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 etc. But like I said, I enjoyed the film because the sets were very nice. The lighting was amber. It was very nice lighting. I didn't notice the music or the sound design, but it was a very aesthetically or kinesthetic, I don't remember, cinema. It was very pleasing to watch. So that was nice. But yeah, I mean, what kind of film would it have been if, I guess it would be focused on the boy, right? It wouldn't have been focused on her. And the way that the actor from The Big Short that was in Brown Capital, the way his story arc of like, I'm really happy with this date. You're a really good matchmaker, and then she just defaults to he's a criminal, and that sort of thing. Not my business how you deal with, men having higher muscle density and overall, and how, the vulnerability, what it's like to be a woman walking around with all these muscle-bound. Anyone is. I'm muscle-bound compared to, except here's the thing: the new the non-European girls, they're not physically disadvantaged because everyone's a brick. They're like brick. They're all bricks. And they are very trained socially in deceit, in fiendish deceit. Not even fiendish. There's no ish about it. It's fiendly deceit. They're all mostly practiced in that. So. And I guess it was kind of a cute film because if you bring a baby to watch the movie, then the baby would remember that they get married, even though they didn't. Because, the couple goes to a wedding. And lastly, although it didn't affect me very much emotionally, unfortunately, because I was not able to relax as much as I would have liked, I did like the peripheral or reach to a Lady and the Tramp reference, where the Chris Evans character takes the Lucy, what's this actress name again that I'm imagining that I'm speaking to? Dakota Johnson. That the Chris Evans character takes the Dakota Johnson character with his low social status associations, that he takes her to something for free, the way that the tramp takes the tramp dog takes the lady dog to spaghetti in the alleyway. So I like the stretch, the very distant, what is it called? Homage, the plagiarism. I like the plot plagiarism, the plot homage. I like that. But yeah, the moment that I left the film, I came back to watch the rest of the film, and I don't know what I was hoping for. I was hoping that the Chris Evans character would figure out that he, it's probably better. I don't know. You know what it is that there are so few white people that I see daily, being a person who lives outside, that the second time I was watching the film, it became more clear that all of these people looked like relatives. The emotive eyes on, especially I keep on thinking his name is Javier Bardem because I saw him in the news recently. Pedro Pascal and Dakota Johnson's eyes, that they both have sort of sad eyes, and Chris Evans, and the height differences of all these characters, and the way the film talks about the height. I found myself wondering how much special effects was involved, but Hollywood has been doing height special effects for a long time, so it's no big deal. That's it. Now I emotionally slow down the vibration from watching a film about relationships. When the first time I watched the film, I couldn't watch the film because of the very theme of the film, preferential treatment. That's it. Does that wrap it up on a little bow for you?